Well, good evening, Sigma race fans. Today it is October 1st, and we are coming at you live with the USA Trucks Chase, race number 4 on the schedule of 10. And obviously, we'll start with sprint qualifiers before we get any further along in the night. And it's going to be Brandon Butler with William Whitmore on the front row. Whitmore made it in last week through the sprint quali, and we'll see if he can make it back-to-back weeks. Tasha Wright, Joao Vitor, Zach Moorwhite and Cannon Gage, Ryan White and Ace Vaden, Adam Starr, and Krista Cower, a pair of teammates right there. And you've got Wyatt Wilkinson, Drew Clue, Paul Ladino, Ryan Little, Tate Berggren, Craig Bush, AJ Kosnoff, and Jason So, Cal Anderson and Nate Newman, Kyle Ottawa and John Brinker, Jack Davis and Chris Hergeson, Jakov Rosovich and Roach, Jonah Burridge, Johnny Blaney, Chasey Plays, Osiel Escobar, Mark Shelton, Luis Rodriguez, Jamie Horseman, Matthew Hubert, Craig Popcris, Finley Herwig, Chase Kovacic, Jameson Thole, Lucas Holmes, and Daniel Paulus Jr. rounding out the sprint qualifier field here at Eurospeedway Lausitz. So we just went from Australia last week to Germany this week. Part of the international appeal that our chase brings us, getting to hit tracks all around the entire planet Earth. We started in Canada, went to the US, headed to Australia, and now Germany. This is kind of a similar style track to that of almost a flat Michigan, I guess you could say. A lot, kind of like an Indianapolis style track. If you kind of fused Indianapolis and Michigan together, you would get Eurospeedway Lausitz. Going into turn 1, it's going to be the 23 with the lead, as Brandon Butler cruises off out there in front of William Whitmore and Joao Vitor. 38 laps are going to go by kind of in a breeze here. Main event tonight, 250 miles. So honestly, this first lap, everyone just trying to establish themselves and set themselves in the right direction here tonight. These sprint qualifiers are very nerve-wracking since you've got so many guys and only 2 spots transfer to the main event. So there's a lot of drivers hanging out at the back here, hoping for a tremendous wreck to help get them further up in the running order. Ooh, there we go. 3 wide for third place. Ryan White pushes Tasha Wright up a groove there. Ryan White wants to get into the main event here. It looks like he's going to push and try to drive around some of these other trucks as hard as he can. Ace Vaden right behind Ryan White. William Whitmore goes way low, but he's kind of losing some momentum there as he gets passed on the outside. Tasha Wright just blew by him. Starting to see some variable racing lines develop here early on in this one. Not always the case that inside lane is faster. As we saw there, actually quite the opposite. That outside lane is the place to be. So Joao Vitor up to second. That is a transfer spot. Running right behind Brandon Butler the second. Tasha Wright in third. William Whitmore from front row. He's dropped all the way back to fourth here in a hurry. You know, thinking about it, this actually is about where Guido Piano's championship season started after getting a win. I want to say it was here at Eurospeedway. And that win obviously locked him in to the chase back in 2022. And the rest we know as history, where he kind of went on and was on the tail end of elimination for each round and still managed to find a way to win, and win again to win the championship. So that's kind of where it was interesting to see the resurgence of Guido Piano when the chase started this year. It's almost like he dusted off it was a muscle memory that he had forgotten coming back into a championship push like this. And number 19 seed, he's moved his way up into the top 5. Had a rough go of it last week at Calder Park in Australia, and still managed to stay within the top 5 in points. We really did see the strongest trucks, that being of Trevor Venture's stable, shine in the last race, and they put down a dominant statement on the road course, finishing 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. They could have potentially had a 1, 2, 3, 4 had Jack Ross not affected the outcome of that race. And actually, now that I come to think of it, top 3, we'll bring on the top 3 from the sprint qualifier because of Jack Ross's ban from the Truck Series for the rest of the season. So as they run right now, it would be Brandon Butler, Joao Vitor, and Tasha Wright making the graduation to the main event here tonight. Tasha not wanting to settle for 3rd there. She wants to try to get up to 2nd and potentially even fight for the 1st position. Doesn't have a whole lot of a cushion here as she's got the 29 right on her tail. William Whitmore made it through the last sprint qualifier to make the main event. He's trying to become one of the few drivers to make multiple starts from sprint qualifier racing. Tasha gave the 23 of Butler a good bump there. She basically wanted to say, hey, I'm right here. I'm ready to make the pass. Don't hold me up. That line that she's taken, very contrary to the 23's line. And that could have been disastrous. Luckily, everyone continued onward after that. Tasha keeps taking a dive at him, though. This is exciting racing as we're watching the top 3 drivers duke it out. Joao Vitor with the lead. And here comes Ryan White, giving William Whitmore some trouble. All in the meantime, the rest of our field pretty well out of contention here. Those that are likely to go home if things continue the way they are going: Daniel Paulus, Lucas Holmes, Chase Kovacic, Jamison Thole, Luis Rodriguez, Asiel Escobar, Matthew Hubert, Craig Popgris, John Brinker, and Finley Herwig. Even right up into the top 15 now. These folks right here, it's going to be hard. It's not unlikely that something could happen at the front half of the field. But these drivers likely going to be heading home here tonight. So that puts us up into our top 7, 7 of which all pretty much within the lead draft here. Of course, sprinkle in potential cautions. We may end up even having one round of pit stops during the sprint qualifier at 38 laps in distance. William Whitmore really off the pace here. It looks like the top 3 breaking away even further from the rest of the 6, 7 drivers in the top 7. Ace Vaden pushes low. Whitmore keeping the momentum on his side there. Closes the door back on the 1. And you can even see they're kind of like sliding. They're almost dirt tracking around that turn there. Whatever the case, it looks like it helped them catch right on back up to the top 3. So that momentum, that loose, loose is fast approach seems to have paid off there. Ace Vaden getting a little bit rambunctious there, trying to take the dive on the 29. Oh, and the window gets shut yet again as the 29 cuts right back in front of the 1. Three out front, definitely liking what they're seeing here. The more that those 3 behind them race for the position, the easier it's going to be for them to walk away. Kind of tell there when Tasha tried to make the move on the 23 of Butler, it allowed these 3 to start catching back up again. So definitely a steady ebb and flow with our top 7 here. Well, if anyone missed out on the Calder Park race last week, you definitely missed out on a lot. We had a good race, apart from Jack Ross in the 00 truck deciding to neglect the black flag as he had been disqualified at one point in the race, having made contact with the leader, affecting the leader and the way that the race played out. Well, upon getting black flagged at least 5 times, he continued to run out there on the track and still he went on a freaking, it was, man, I don't know how to explain it. I'm at a loss for words. He just went on a buster. He just went out there and wrecked as many trucks as he could, ignoring the black flag. They stopped counting laps as soon as the DQ was handed out to him. So he still went out there and turned laps, but none of them were legal laps. So upon getting disqualified on lap 9, that's the last lap they counted on his transponder. And he went out there and wrecked even Trevor Vaden from the lead. He played spoiler for Trevor Ventures, Something Fierce. And that's where today he has been banned for the rest of the season in the USA Trucks. He's allowed to make a few select starts here and there on the Cup side of things, one of which was Mid-Ohio, his home track, and he's going to be allowed to run in the Music Fest Grand Prix. However, he is going to have to come through the heats in the Music Fest Grand Prix, as he sits right now in the points 31st. Only the top 31 in points will be locked into the main event. Well, there's still one more race to go in the regular, well, before the Music Fest Grand Prix points tallied. And Braden Varga, the way he's been running, should be able to knock Jack Ross back to 32nd. And pretty good certainty behind Varga making the top 31 in points and being locked into the main event. So yeah, no, last week we did see Tim Courting come out and win. He has not yet won the overall truck championship. He has won the regular season before, but it's the overall championship that has eluded him so far. So off to a decent start. He's worked his way up into the top, now the top 5 in points, top 10, I think. Anywhere between, I think like 7th or 8th, if anything. I'll have to pull up. Yeah, no, up into the top 5. He currently sits 4th in the points, so on a massive tear after just getting one win. He jumped up 2 spots from his last standing, whereas he had jumped up from 10th to 6th the race before that. So Tim Courting definitely looking like he could be a threat here. He's going to have to work his way around the Trevor Ventures camp of Jordan Walker, Trevor Walker, and Trevor Vaden, who have a stranglehold on the top 3 spots. It has remained pretty relative to those 3 in the top 4. They were, other than, yeah, no, those were your top 3 from the start of the season, seeded that way. So they're continuing to hold those top 3 spots even after a few rough races. So we're halfway through the sprint qualifier here so far. Our top 3 breaking away from the rest of the field. As it stands, these 3 would qualify into the main event here tonight. Halfway through the race and no cautions yet. These sprint qualifier racers definitely running clean, running strong. Man, it's crazy just to think we're in October already. Music Fest Grand Prix is 17 days away. And it's going to be one of our biggest races on the server yet. I'm excited for it. Last night I was able to get the lineup set for it. So apart from the one race this week, we will have an official release come Friday on who's in what heat. As the way it's going to be laid out for the Music Fest Grand Prix this year, it's going to have 2 heats. One heat of 22 drivers, one heat of 21 drivers. Each heat will graduate 3 drivers up into the main event for Saturday. So we'll be doing the heats on Friday. And Saturday, we'll do the main event. We were going to have a grand total of 9 drivers having to race through the heats. So those first 2 heats, 22 and 21, and once you remove the 6 drivers that graduate, you'll have about 39 drivers, 37 drivers for a last chance qualifier where the top 3 in that LCQ will also move on to the main event for Saturday. 77 total entries. The largest entry total for our Sigma, what is currently Sylvania Cup. The last year that we're going to be under the Sylvania Cup banner, but I'm already giving them the name. I'm giving it the proper switch over. It's kind of been active for a while. It's the Sigma Cup series, so. Yeah, I'm still starting to wonder if we're going to see green flag pit stops here in the sprint qualifier. Let's go look real quick. Maybe I'll throw a caution to make it so that we don't have... I don't want to throw a caution for it. They're saying 50 laps, so we should be golden. I'm impressed at how strong these 3 trucks have been running the entire time. Kind of coming as a surprise there with Vitor leading the way. We haven't seen that truck lead laps in any form. Obviously, this is a sprint qualifier, so those are not official laps led. But it's still heat race lead laps, and that right there is impressive. I'm still impressed how well behaved the trucks have been running here tonight. All our drivers not having any trouble. All 40 trucks still out there running. Wilkinson driving pretty solid here. He worked his way from 15th up to 13th. If this were a main event, that would still be a very respectable finish to finish in the top 15. Not looking like the second group's going to get stabilized here to fight for the win. As our seasons are getting tied up here, it is exciting to look towards the 2025 season, as silly season pretty much underway already. We've started to establish where drivers are going to end up in 2025. We have one final race in the ARCA schedule tomorrow night, and that should solidify some more silly season moves that have been kind of held off until one season or another finishes. So with ARCA closing out its chapter of 2024 tomorrow night, Bridge to Cup's already set. There's sunsets already went on the season. And then we've got the trucks here on race 4 of 10 for our chase. So we have 6 races after tonight. It's going to be pretty much nonstop once a week until the end of, I think, mid-November for our truck schedule. And kind of the same cutoff point for the Cup Series, our other final series that'll be running in these last 2 months. So 11-19 is where we're going to close out this truck side of things. And then on November 22nd, just a week later, is going to be, well, 3 days later, will be our Cup Series finale. Next on the schedule for the Cup Series this Friday is going to be Homestead, the Miami Getaway annual 400-mile event. And then we actually do have kind of a rare week off at the latter half of the season here. After Homestead, there's going to be no race in the Cup Series on the 11th, which would normally be the next race in line. So we get 1 week off in the Cup Series. On the 11th, we will... Oh, wow, we do have a week off in the trucks, too. So we just have, I guess, an unscheduled week off. That was probably on my behalf, knowing that I'd be moving. So I didn't have a race scheduled during our move, which is actually clever. The only thing is, Lakeside, our Music Fest Grand Prix race, will be the day before I move. So, yeah, I get 1 week off there that actually makes almost no sense now that I think about it. But, oh well. It'll be a week off that I can focus on trying to get more silly season stuff settled and sorted. Won't be any wasted time, that's for certain. Well, our top 3 have left the rest of the field in the dust here, as it's still Tasha, Brandon, and Joao leading the way. These 3 really trying to establish themselves as the top 3 contenders here in our sprint qualifier. And hoping to go main event racing here, as they are your top 3 that would move on. With just 4 laps to go here in our sprint qualifier. Not a lot of time left in this one. It's going to be a huge surprise here to have Joao Vitor fighting for a main event race here tonight. Given that he doesn't have a mechanical failure in these last 3 laps. This will be Tasha's first start during the chase, as she has not been able to make it through the sprint qualifiers yet. So she's only got 3 more laps here, and she will be in the main event. Well, let's give kind of a little in-depth look before the main event here tonight on what we are cooking with. After the first 3 races, victory had gone to Kyler Sustre, a non-chase contender. He won the first race on the moon for the first race in the chase. Then the next race at Joe Gibbs International Raceway, Alex Sanvital, whom is in contention for the title, jumped up 10 spots to 5th in the points after his win there. Then we move on to Calder Park, where Tim Cording, another chase contender, led the most laps, closed out the deal on the road course in Australia to move himself up to 4th. Alex Sanvital lost 3 spots, falling back to 8th. And so, as it stands, you got Chaz Chadwick in 5th, Guido Piano falling back to 6th, Ant Me Person staying set in 7th, Sanvital in 8th, Alan Malcolm in 9th, Fastnaut in 10th, Al Bunch 11th, Dave Steele Jr. climbs up 7 spots into the top 12, Gannon Bird up to 13th, Zach Magoon up to 14th. Spinham Walker in 15th. Jeffrey Gerald drops back 4 spots to 16th. Noah Hobson in 17th. So that's a pair of LFG Motorsports drivers that fell backwards there. Bradley Ream in 18th. James Gunner in 19th. And Brian DeBlank, your 20th place chase contender. What's impressive, though, Jordan Walker with 153 points, Trevor Walker with 127. We could have a really stout, points battle between 2 brothers for this championship. And tonight, kind of a wild card. This track almost runs more like a super speedway than most. So there's no telling how this is going to pan out here tonight. Here we go, checkered flag on our sprint qualifier. It's going to be Joao Vitor making the main event. Brandon Butler the second, and Tasha Wright make it into the main event here tonight. Believe it or not, all 3 of them brand new contenders for the main event in the chase this season. So we're going to let them coast around the track here, get all sorted and settled back into pit road, and then we're going to get headed on to the main event here tonight.
touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Alrighty, so on to the main event here tonight from Eurospeedway Lausitz. It's 125 laps for a grand total of 250 miles. And starting on the front row, last week's winner, Tim Cording, going to start there alongside Trevor Walker. So Trevor Ventures not too far behind Mr. Cording there, as it's a pretty much a stranglehold behind that. Third and fourth, TV, with that of Alan Malcolm and Trevor Vaden. And coming in fifth, it's Jordan Walker. So it's a tight field at the front of the field. Tim Cording against Trevor Ventures. Brian DeBlanc, who is 20th in our standings, starting sixth here tonight. Chaz Chadwick in the top five, looking for a good finish here. Alex Sanvital, Noah Hobson and Tom Cording, Matthew Fastnaught and James Gunner, Shy Turtle and John Hagan, Chris Harvey and Tasha Wright, mid-pack there in the number 30. Kyler Sestre and Brandon Butler the second. Willow Blake and the 35 of Dave Steele Jr., Aunt Me Person and Kat Durham. Gannon Bird and Skylar Taylor. Ralph Oberstadt and Al Bunch. Eli the Wolf and Lynn Farrell. Andre Stefan and Zach Magoon. Guido Piano's got his work cut out for him as he's starting towards the back half of the field, right there alongside Anheuser Walkner. Spinham Walker, Bradley Ream, Bailey Parker, David Bird, Andrew Moger, and Jeffrey Gerald. Gerald, your deepest chase contender starting in the field here. Joao Vitor, Adam Cruz, Braden Hunt, and Rich Roy rounding out the field here tonight. So Tim Cording knows what needs to be done here if he wants to fight for that overall championship. He's going to have to take it to the toughest four-truck team in the series here of Trevor Ventures. And TV sits second, third, fourth in the points, or first, second, third, and there's Alan Malcolm is ninth in the points. So 1, 2, 3, and 9. Tim Cording sits fourth. Cording with the pole, rolling out, taking the early lead here as the green flag waves. We didn't see any wrecks in the sprint qualifiers, so perhaps they were waiting, saving the wrecks for the main event here tonight. We'll have to see. Tim Cording off to the early lead as Trevor Walker up to second. Alan Malcolm in third. Trevor Vaden stuck up on the high side there, but might use the momentum to his advantage. We saw that outside line pay off during the sprint qualifier for the likes of Tasha Wright, as she was able to make a pass on the outside. Then again, we might see it here in the main event as the 85 of Brian DeBlanc driving around the outside of Alan Malcolm there. Alex Sanvital on the high side as well. There we go. We've got a bit of a race on our hands. We're all very well used to the Trevor and Trevor show from the West Coast, as your top 3 drivers all West Coast contenders. Whoa, what happened there? Quite a line variation as the 20 stayed low and the others went high. Almost looked like a mistake. I don't know what Vaden was thinking there. One thing I'm noticing right away, just the difference of strength between our sprint qualifier to the main event. You're seeing a lot more trucks making aggressive moves early in this one compared to what we were seeing in the sprint qualifier. Eventually, I do feel like we're going to get a bit of a breakaway like we did have in that sprint qualifier. But the other factor that'll kick in is degradation of tires. And we'll see them make a full run for pit stops. 50 laps. This race will likely see at least 2 pit stops if it stays green the entire way. Maybe 3 if there's some caution sprinkled in there. Maybe 4, depending on how badly the drivers need those tires. This is going to be 3 wide for 4th place as they go into turn. Wow, I want to say that's turn 3. And this should be turn 4 right here. Yep, so I'm on the right map. Some aggressive racing early on here. Jordan Walker, your current points leader, starting to cycle backwards as he's in 9th at the moment. We have seen him kind of use his cushion, and he's really let some of his lead get away from him. That's the perk of being the regular season champion and having all those bonus points, that you're eligible to make some mistakes here and there, and perhaps maybe just not up to the challenge this early in the chase. Maybe it's a factor of being safe too, playing it safe and not trying to overdo it. I mean, we've seen that in real life with even just a couple weeks ago with Denny Hamlin, where he decided to run in the back at Atlanta. Thought it would be safer to just avoid the carnage. Could potentially be seeing that with Jordan Walker here, where he's using his bonus points perhaps strategically, but to the average viewer, they might think he's just struggling. So let's check in a little bit further back here. Tasha, who made it through the sprint qualifier, she's up to 14th and actually hooked up running with her sprint qualifying comrade there, the 23 of Brandon Butler II. So those two had a little bit more track time, and they're putting it to good use here, running in the top 15. Tasha very much within striking distance of a top 10, and possibly even a top 5 the way she's running. These trucks definitely stacked up at the front of the field here. Tim Cording still leading. It's Trevor Walker in 2nd, Trevor Vaden in a semi-distant 3rd. Testing some of the other camera angles here. Man, that's the quiet camera right there. Must have the mic disabled on the camera for that one. So picking up where Trevor Ventures left off last week, they had 3 drivers in the top 4 finish that race. They have 3 drivers in the top 4 running the start of this race, and all 3 of them are chasing down the same guy from last week who won it, Tim Cording. Man, how crazy is that? Tim has just a little bit more oomph in that Volkswagen. The Amarok, kind of unknown in the truck series. We haven't seen a whole lot of fanfare. Obviously, it's capable of winning. We saw that just last week. And it's still very fast running up front here today at Eurospeedway. This is a hornet's nest right here. They are packed in there like sardines. Shy Turtle up towards the top 10 here. He's fighting for positions in front of him. 3 wide for 5th place. And Jordan Walker coming out on top of that battle. That would put all of Trevor Ventures up into the top 5. And this would have been one of the tracks that I had labeled as a wild card race, being a super speedway the way it is. But impressively enough, these guys and gals out here driving very clean, very methodically, very carefully, and starts turning less into a wild card event, more into a spectacle to behold. Our sprint qualifiers still running solidly in 14th and 15th. Joao Vitor, who is actually your fastest driver in that sprint qualifier, he's struggling a little bit here, as he's having to work his way from the tail half of the field up to 30th. Guido showing more likely what we had seen during the regular season. This 19 truck had kind of a shock 2-race streak there where he was looking unbeatable, but now struggling again. Perhaps the truck not exactly where they want it to be, but with strategy, he could still find himself moving through the field here. 28th at the moment, with a lot of ground to gain. See, Atle Weiss and his TRD Motorsports truck team, they've had a trying season. I mean, they've been able to get the wins when they needed them, but if they hadn't got those wins, they were not looking to be locked in for contending in the chase here. Let me refer to the point standings here for the trucks. Yeah, on the west side, actually didn't have any team trucks on the west side, my bad. So it would have been on the east side, where all 3 of their trucks were contending. Guido Piano had 0 wins. Al Bunch got 1 win and was luckily up into the top 10 in points without it. And Willow Blake had worked her way up to 18th after only starting 11 races. So she didn't even start the season with the team, came in later and was able to cruise her way up into the top 20 in points. which was good enough to lock her in to these chase races as an outsider. It was the top 10 from the East and the top 10 from the West are locked in, obviously, because they are your chase contenders. And then the remaining 10 that make up your top 20 are guaranteed to start each chase race. And that left us with our sprint qualifier of 40 drivers, which would have been everyone from 30th on back between the East and the West. I don't know if I explained that to the best explanation possible, but that's kind of how all of the way things get set up here for the chase end of it. So in other words, Willow Blake, even though she wasn't in the top 10 in points to lock herself into the chase, she still has every race under her belt for the season. See, some of the other drivers have to come through the sprint qualifier, and those are races that a lot of drivers are missing each week here at the end of the season. So Willow Blake, even though she missed 4 races at the first half of the season, she's actually out-competing some of the drivers that are missing races due to the sprint qualifiers. Well, lead still hasn't changed hands. It's Tim Corning, Trevor Walker, Trevor Vaden, and Alan Malcolm. The entire Trevor Venture stable running in the top 5. Yeah, I might have spoke too soon when I was saying that Jordan Walker was just out there safetying up. The guy's actually coming alive here as the run progresses. 17, now 18 laps into the run. Way this is going, we're going to start seeing lap traffic become a factor. We haven't raced here since, I want to say since 2022. It had been dropped off the calendar and was revived here for 2024. Our first race that we hosted here, it had a good fair share of wrecks and cautions. And so for this to be playing out the way it is actually mildly impressive. These truck drivers, obviously it's been a full year's work, of progress, and everything is kind of culminated to this point that these drivers are just, light years better than what they were 15 races ago at the start of the season. What has been kind of a staple in the Sigma series as of late, that most of our races kind of just turn into a wreck fest, or lap traffic factors in to steal wins away. I think tonight, I don't care if I'm going to jinx it as the commentator. This is going to be a spectacular fight for the finish, as for once we're actually going to get to see Tim Corning at his best facing off against Trevor Walker at his best. And these two, this is kind of your Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. We've got Tim Corning and Trevor Walker here in the Truck Series. Now, of course, Jordan Walker, your current points leader, but Trevor Walker sits in second. And with Trevor Walker putting on a good finish here today up against his brother, that too could tighten things up. The points battle between the two brothers, You know, not to forget Tim Cording leading the way right now. He would put himself up into third in the points. So we would really have about a 3-dog fight for this championship after 4 races in. And that's saying something. That's kind of funny that you mentioned that. Chaz kind of is like our Kyle Busch. He's the kind of the veteran, and after a couple of years, I mean, he's still there hanging out in the background. He's not, he's not incapable of winning. He's just had some tough breaks and needs, a little bit more luck to go his way. As it stands, this season had been a trying one for Chaz Chadwick, but he did find himself in victory lane 3 times. And so won the season opener at Daytona this year. Won a pair of races on road courses where he hit Watkins Glen and Mid-Ohio as a winner. And then came up second at Charlotte Road Course Roval. So maybe not as trying as I thought it was, but still kind of a return to form for Chaz Chadwick, as it has been a struggle the last couple years. He's definitely still within the conversation here this year. But it's obviously been overshadowed by the Walker brothers. Even in his series, Jordan Walker had 6 wins to his 3. And now that we've combined the two, we're getting Jordan Walker kind of as an also-ran, which is that, I mean, if that says something, I don't know what it says, but that's crazy. Okay, riddle me this one. Who's the older of the two brothers, Tim or Tom? Since you're on that topic, I wanna know which one's Kurt and which one's Kyle. I'm sure you've mentioned it before. I just can't quite remember who the older brother to the younger brother is. Tim Cording continues to stay out front here, holding off Trevor Walker. We are 25 laps in, 100 laps to go. Our first likely round of green flag pit stops, if things stay green, would be lap 50. Or at least the window would open around lap 46 to 52. And I feel like this could be a tricky track for pit road entry. We got some movement at the back here as Vaden, Malcolm, and now Jordan Walker joining the fight here. This is kind of where we start to see that tire degradation factor in. Meantime, your top two really not showing much signs of slowing down, as their lap times still in the 46-second category, now almost to the 47-second category. Trevor Walker has had the edge on fastest lap, 46.053 to that of Tim Cording's 46.081. But the fastest lap belongs to Trevor Vaden, who turned a 45.9. That's a blistering lap around Eurospeedway here. But I do see that the speed has negatively affected the tire compound on that 20 truck. He is wore out his tires and he slowed up a lot quicker than the leaders. So it's all about putting the speed down to the track, but at the same time saving the rubber and not outdoing it. Yeah, this just feels like an instant classic waiting to happen. We have not seen a great run between two of our top contenders in a long time. We could say that this has been between Tim, Trevor, and Chaz Chadwick for so many years. At one point, Atlee was very much in the mix. It sounds like Atlee might be back in the trucks for 2025. So that's going to make things interesting. The return of your Cup champion to the Truck Series. Throw in Atlee Weiss. This Truck Championship might turn into an all-star event every year. One thing that definitely has changed since then is we are seeing Trevor Ventures as the marquee team here in the USA Trucks, whether it be the East or the West, or even during the chase like this race right here, as they sit second, third, fourth, and sixth. Yeah, James Gunner had to hop in there and spoil the party a little bit. Gunner driving the Trackstar Motorsports Incorporated number 32 Dodge. It's a team truck to Gannon Bird. And TSI kind of been quiet but consistent. And James Gunner working his way through the top 5 drivers here. Let's go a little bit further through the field here and see how everyone else is doing. Chaz Chadwick in 7th. He's hoping to minimize points loss here today. Alex Sanvital in 8th. Brian DeBlanc in 9th. And then we've got relative newcomer here, Shy Turtle, running in the top 10. Giving that number 76 McDonald Chevy a great run here today. Tom Cording running in 11th. Then you got John Hagan, Gannon Bird. Tasha Wright still holding on to a solid 14th place run right now. Well, she might make it 13th here if she can get by the 59. She has to slow up a little bit, taking that inside line. The momentum not there. She has to settle right back into 14th. And Matthew Fastnot running in 15th. Ralph Oberstadt, Brandon Butler, Noah Hobson, Dave Steele Jr., Chris Harvey, and Kat Durham in 21st. Yeah, Guido Piano still making up some spots here. He's up to 24th. His teammate Al Bunch in 25th. But most of these drivers, they're going to have to factor in pit stops to make up the most of their gains here today. Rich Roy dead last in 42nd. He's about 3 seconds off the pace right now. Well, as we slowly approach our first round of likely green flag pit stops, we're 33 laps in. Every lap so far has been led by Tim Cording. He has been dominantly holding that position. But the 21 keeping him honest here. He ain't letting that 90 truck get away. These two kind of setting their own limits, their own boundaries here. As third place, quite a distance off. They're just now entering turn 1. They are on the exit of turn 1, heading into turn 2. Okay, now I've got to decide if this is a 3-turn track or a 4-turn track. Here is turn 1. Maybe it's more like a Pocono. As they are going through turn 1 still. It's a very sharp turn 1. By golly, we're racing on a triangle. I didn't even realize that. I thought it was more of an Indy style track, kind of a rectangle, but it's a true triangle here in Germany. Eurospeedway Lausitz, very unique, very special. It's the German Pocono. Man, we have stayed green the entire time here between sprint qualifiers and the main event. 38, now a duo of 38 lap runs for a grand total of 76 laps, caution free. Solid, solid, solid from these truck drivers as they keep it clean and race strong. Wow, Jordan Walker now up to third. That's going to be huge in that points conversation, as these two at the front of the field not likely to make up near as many points on Jordan Walker with him running in third. Jordan Walker had the luxury of having the most wins throughout the regular season with a grand total of 6, and that helped him establish the largest #1 seeding that we've had in this truck's chase ever. 6 wins, regular season champion, and a lot of pole positions were all points to the good for him. I'm still impressed here that Trevor Walker running strong like this, and he has not been able to find an opportunity to make a pass for the lead. They are about 1.5 seconds off their fastest lap, so the tire degradation definitely slowing them up a little bit here. But green flag pit stops are about 5 laps away here for the leaders. Good thing is the way that the mileage is laying out, I don't think we're gonna have any crazy, gas mileage race here today. It's gonna be about 45, 45, and then they'll have about a 35 lap, about a 10 lap charge to the finish. Well, 35 on their fuel mileage of the 45. So we'll see when the first rounds happen. I'm getting ahead of myself. Obviously, if they can't make it to lap 45, that's going to wrinkle it up a little bit. That would make it so that they can go right to lap 126 if they have to pit on lap 42. Oh boy, did I jinx it or what? I said 42. We're going to see the very, very cusp of fuel mileage for these two drivers. 42 will put them all the way to lap 126 on the good, which is not ideal. They might be 1 lap short. They might be 1 lap extra. Right now, as we have Trevor Vaden and Alan Malcolm staying out 1 more lap, that's going to be 1 more lap to the green on fuel mileage for them. Hell, if we have green-white checkers at the end of this thing, it could really affect the outcome of the race. Which we'll go ahead and enable green-white checkers just so we got it. And just like that, fuel mileage may very well be a concern for our number 1 and 2 driver. Tim Cording and Trevor Walker, they pitted way too early. And maybe it's because they were burning so much gas out front leading. See, anyone that pits now should be golden. I don't think there's going to be any concern about fuel mileage for those that are pitting after lap 42. Obviously, things need to stay green here as well. They don't want to see a caution and get trapped backwards. Tim Cording slots into 36th. Trevor Walker, 37th. Wow, Jordan Walker pitted as well, and he's in 39th. James Gunner in 40th. Oh wait, okay. I thought Shy Turtle just led a lap there. He pitted with our leaders, so he's actually 42nd. It's potentially going to shuffle around to Tom Cording being the leader briefly here, but I think he's going to have to pit. He looks like he might actually be out of gas coming off turn 1 there. That truck way slow. It's about 2 seconds off the pace. These drivers definitely stretching it a little bit further. I kind of like this for Tasha. She's staying out. She's staying out to lap 45. So Tasha might actually be able to do this with a strategy race here today. Tasha leads her first lap in the race here tonight. That on fuel mileage numbers. So Tasha maybe trying to, play devil's advocate here and stretch the mileage. If she can, get a break here tonight. The problem is after this pit stop, it's going to shuffle her way outside of where she was running. But when the green flag pit stops come again, it should shuffle her a little bit further up in the running order each time. And what I like about this is it gives her enough fuel if we get a green-white checkers here today. And everyone else might be running low or running out. She's got some extra fuel in the tank. So Tim Cording, Trevor Walker shuffle right on back out to the lead here. Jordan Walker third, James Gunner fourth, Trevor Vaden fifth, and Alan Malcolm sixth. Alrighty, lap traffic's going to be a factor here now, as our leaders and the entire field has stayed green for 48 laps straight here tonight. Those that have gone a lap down, Guido Piano, Bradley Ream, David Bird, and now the 31 of Rich Roy. Tough break for the 19. It was looking like a good start to this chase, but Guido kind of falling back into the blues here on the truck side of things. That 19 truck just a little bit off the pace. But those that are not suffering the blues, Tim Cording and Trevor Walker, these two hungry for a regular season championship. It's crazy to think that neither of these have won the overall championship. And they've been so stout, so strong, and capable of doing it. But if you look back, 2022 was Guido Piano, which was a surprise. He kind of stole that from everyone. 2023 was actually broke into a pair of championships. I forget. USA Trucks Winter. Oh, that's right. Tim Cording won. I think it was Tim Cording that won that one. So I've been misspeaking for so long. I thought Tim Cording had been without an overall championship, but now I got to look back at 2023. Yep, that's what it was. It was Tim Cording won the winter, and Tom Cording won the summer championship in 2023. I apologize. I have misspoke for so long. I didn't even look back at the stats to confirm or deny. So Tim Cording actually trying to go for his second overall championship. Sometimes I get so caught up in the moment that I forget to look back at the past. Ooh, and a slight move for the lead here as lap traffic slowing up Tim Cording. We're on lap 52 of 125. Trevor tried to make the move, but Tim closes the door on the 21's advance there. Trying again down the long straight after turn one. This lap traffic's going to really play spoiler here. But yeah, Trevor Walker has never won a overall championship. And maybe even not the regular championship, because he got bested this season by Trevor Venture for that regular season championship. So a lot on the line for Trevor Walker here to try and get some more points up against his brother Jordan. Side by side for the lead with a dominant pass there. It looks like Trevor Walker might take over here on lap 54. Tim not letting him get away with it very easily. He's holding his line on the outside. He's still got a nose on his right rear quarter panel. Oh, and that was how you call a slide job from hell. I don't know how the 21 knew he was clear. I'm pretty sure his spotter was telling him outside, outside, not clear, outside. And yet he still closed the door on the 90. I don't know if Tim Cording's very happy about that move. That was kind of aggressive. Let's see where the rest of the field is sorted out after those green flag pit stops. Chadwick 7th, Sam Vital 8th. Whoa! I did not realize that. Trevor Venture's actually a lap down in 38th. How did this happen, I wonder? He had to make 2 pit stops. He came out on lap 43. From 5th, he had to come back down pit road. Oh, a flat tire for Trevor Venture. We've seen flat tires strike on the Trevors before. Last time it was Trevor Walker from the lead that gave Trevor Venture the win at Nashville earlier this year. But now, flat tire takes the top 5 away from Trevor Venture, most likely here today. That might have been kind of what got a few of the other drivers that we might have missed out on. Honestly, don't know how the 19 got so far off the pace. That might have been all natural speed from the 19. So Tasha on that long strategy, she has fallen back to 17th, but she's going to be able to run longer than everyone. She's going to be able to make it to lap 90. And then some drivers might actually be dropping off in the last stint. Well, let's head back up to the front of the field and see how that battle's going. That's a huge hit for Trevor Vaden, though, getting that flat tire out of 5th place. Wow, the rest of the lap traffic in front of these two, it's going to be a tough road ahead for these two. Now, I would not be at all surprised if Jordan Walker starts to close the gap to the top two. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Currently it's 7.1 seconds that they have over Jordan Walker. And with all of that lap traffic in front of them, that's just going to hold them up and keep the rest of the field with a chance of catching up. .1, it is going to change to a 7.3, so they're still actually running faster than Jordan Walker at the moment. So not looking likely that this is going to help Jordan Walker catch up. Man, yeah, Trevor Vaden, if that's all it took for his race to come unraveled here today. A flat tire pretty much is going to knock him out of the top 5 in the points, knock him out of the top, maybe out of the top 8, the way things are going. Wow, there's 3 wide with lap traffic in front of them. They grew their gap even more over Jordan Walker, now up to 7.5 seconds. This is getting dangerous. I wouldn't want to be racing behind this gaggle of trucks. If one thing goes wrong, you're going to have to be maneuvering through a wreck field. I'm still astounded to the fact that we have not seen a caution. This is very unlike a superspeedway-esque track. I guess in all reality, it's more of a Pocono, so maybe more of a... No, I mean, Pocono I would still label as a superspeedway, just like Michigan, as they're both 2-mile tracks. This one is a 2-mile track as well. The draft may not factor in near as important here. But it's still very unpredictable. And our drivers have not put a wheel wrong yet. Ooh, Trevor Walker's going to get stuck up high here. This could potentially help Tim Cording make some moves. Yeah, look at that momentum from the 90 truck as he's caught up to the back bumper of the 21. Oh, and he got cut off by Moger there. That was a bad move from a lap truck. I think Radioactive is going to be intense here with Tim Cording at the end of this one. Look, he's even given the 74 some business. He was running right on his bumper. He's like, I need to get through the field here to fight for the win. I don't need you holding me up. Look at that. He's going to run around the outside of the 21. Side by side, 3 wide with the leader on the inside. This is some insane racing right now. Our 2 leaders having to use lap traffic kind of strategically here. Tim got a little loose there, went way high. That's going to wash him out a little bit. Wait a minute. We're not done here yet. That 90 still fighting a fast line around the outside. At the moment, might be able to lead this lap. If he can keep from getting held up, wow, he's going to drive around the 21 and lead lap number 63. That's stout. Now, this is where I'm interested to see where Jordan Walker, yeah, Jordan's starting to close the gap a little bit, down to 6.8 seconds for Jordan Walker. There's a hell of a lot left in this race, and Jordan Walker could find himself moving up through the field, contending for the win here today. So now that things have kind of settled down here a little bit, I think Trevor Walker saw what the 90 was doing. He's going to try to capitalize on the same move that the 90 made. Going on that high groove, trying to thread the needle through the lap traffic. Oh, and the 90 closes up on the 20. He kind of took the air off the front of the 21 there. This is like watching chess out on a racetrack. Those two are making moves at full speed here, 175 miles an hour, and not making any mistakes doing so. The gap now down to 6.5 for Jordan Walker. It's actually a bummer for Trevor Vaden that his flat tire didn't come laps later, that he could be off strategy. Ooh, and here we go. Battle for the lead again. That 21 is alongside the 90. These two have not been able to get by the likes of Andre Stefan there in the 56. He's been one of the harder lap trucks to pass here. Trevor Walker riding on a rail on the outside. He gets the lead back. Tim Cording getting held up by some of the slower traffic on the inside here. Trevor Walker back to the lead on lap 66. Jordan Walker 6.1 seconds back now, as these two struggle through the lap traffic. It's only a matter of time before Jordan Walker graces the front of the field here. So brief pause as we save record here at about halfway. Yeah, it's not completely halfway, but it's close enough. So now as Trevor Walker leads, there's two trucks, lap trucks, separating him from Tim Cording. Jordan Walker now 5.8 seconds back, trying to close the gap as lap traffic spoils the show here. Alrighty, Trevor gets down on the inside. We've seen this happen so many times in the last 20 laps, where they get on that inside and the outer momentum takes over. Tim Cording running that outside. He's almost alongside, gets chopped off there by the 21. Man, Tim and Trevor are going to be at each other's throats by the end of this race. There is a very interesting racecraft going down here today. These two not afraid to get within each other's bubble. Ooh, now Trevor gets on the high side, and he's going to use the momentum to his advantage. We saw Tim almost making it work to get around him, but oh, and that's in a dangerous situation. The 77 of Willow Blake. I think Trevor wants to get out of there ASAP before a wreck happens. Wow, that could have been nuts. And so the next window for these two in particular is going to be lap 84, which actually, in all, reality, they should be good to go as long as this race stays green for the entire race. But the way things are kind of running right now, I would not rule out a late race caution, green-white checkers even. If we had a wreck on lap 124 of 125, your top two trucks are going to run out of gas. There's no ways around that. The strategy that they have dug themselves, it's going to be a tough one to survive a green-white checkered finish at the end. Jordan Walker within 5 seconds. He's down to 4.5 seconds behind. You can see him in the background on the camera there. Jordan Walker is going to turn this race into a 3-truck fight before the end. Andre Stefan still playing very hard to pass here. He might be harnessing his inner Ryan Newman in that number 56 truck. So this is honestly where these lengthier races get to be a hazard. We've seen it with Al Bunch in the Cup side of things, where he'll be dominantly leading, and you'll start to learn that the lead is not the safest place to be. If you've got the fastest car, you're going to be blitzing through the field. Wow, the 10 pitted. The 10 of Jordan Walker pitting on lap 72. There's absolutely no way that this pans out. He only went 30 laps from his 42. Coolant leak, ouch. 30 of Tasha had a coolant leak at one point in the race here. She had to go down pit road. She's now running 42nd. Bummer. That was a tough break there. She had some of the best strategy panning out here for today. Yet, from lap 71 plus 45, her last pit stop will be on lap 116. This could still be an interesting factor here. I wouldn't rule her out. She just kind of eliminated her pit strategy that she had. but she might cycle back out to the lead. I'm more intrigued here with Jordan Walker. Yeah, he only went 30 laps. So he's going to have to pit again on lap 114. So that's no bueno. Right after making a dominant charge to be in the mix for the top 3. And he's now on the urge of going a lap down, as his brother and Tim Cording not too far behind. Yet, still, caution free. We are running non-stop here. Green flag action. And your top 2 just putting on a clinic so far. So for the most part, Jordan Walker, his only hope's going to be if a caution were to come out somewhere after this next round of green flag pit stops. Here we go for the lead. Tim going low here on the 21. And actually, he's going to get snookered here and get passed on the outside. Ooh, the 21 going low here. Yeah, we're starting to really see where that low side is the slow side. The high side is where all the speed is at. Still not a single retirement in the race here today. Our leaders are definitely going to have to see them go to lap 84 to make this doable. Tim Cording charges around the outside here. Trevor making another bold push on the inside. 4 wide, 4 position with the lap traffic in front of him. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Trevor Vaden a lap down after having a flat tire. He's trying to get he's trying to get his 1 lap back here. Tim around the outside, going to get pushed up high by Vaden. Perhaps a little bit of team tactics there to help the boss man out. And Tim leads. Trevor's going to follow suit and going up high here. Maybe, maybe not. The lap traffic have definitely settled down here. And it's looking like our leaders are going to make to lap 84, which would put them 1 lap to the green, given that we don't have any green-white checkers. And I think, honestly, that's just the factor that these 2 trucks are so fast, they're actually burning more gas, and therefore they're on the, the near perfect strategy to run every ounce of gas that they put into the truck. That's only perfect in a world where green-white checkers don't exist, of course. And the way things are running right now, I would definitely not factor out a potential caution coming our way before the end of this one. Tim Cording leads the lap there. Lap 81 of 125. James Gunner starting to close the gap. Alan Malcolm closing the gap. I'm almost wondering too if this lap traffic has slowed their pace up enough if they can actually push it a little further on their fuel mileage here. By my calculations, they should be pitting on lap 84. This time around, it's going to be lap 82. Walker wants to go around the outside here. He's going to try. 90 closes the door on him. A lot alike the move that we saw Trevor Walker pull earlier. There is going to be a brief moment here once these leaders pit that Jordan Walker is going to cycle out to be the leader. And maybe Jordan felt that he wasn't going to be able to stretch it, so he had to cut the pit stop in half there. It's going to be interesting, perhaps even gambling for a caution to come his way for pitting that early, because there was nothing mechanically wrong with the tin truck. He just pitted extra early. Super undercut. So badly undercut that he's going to have to add one more pit stop to the day. But in the meantime, he's out there like gangbusters running through the field. He's already up to 21st on the fresher rubber. And as everyone else is going to have to start pitting here shortly, he might be sitting pretty if a caution were to happen. Tasha as well, having had to pit with the coolant leak. She's already gained a couple spots up to 40th here. She's going to be able to stay out while everyone else pits, and that's going to move her through the field again. There we go. Gunner, Chaz Chadwick down pit road. They're a little too early on the pit stops, as your leaders have now hit lap 84 here. If they pit this time by, they're going to be one, maybe even two laps to the green past the scheduled distance. Wow. Yeah, I think running with the lap traffic had slowed their pace up, that they were able to save some extra fuel here on this run. Kind of met some new fuel numbers, which is huge for these two. Because now the more laps they complete, the longer they're going to be able to push it to the finish. Yeah, they're going to be 3 laps to the green right now if they pit. Looks like the 21 might be committing here. 90 going to stay out a lap longer. Wow. So Trevor Walker, 3 laps to the green, no matter what. He's going to have enough fuel, especially for one green-white checkered attempt. Tim Cording, on the other hand, trying to stay out even later. The only downside is he's on dead tires right now, and this is going to slow his pace up on this one lap that he's running here. And he's going to get past here. That puts Chadwick back on the lead lap. Chadwick made his green flag pit stop. Well, holy cow, the 90 going to stay out another lap here. That'll put him at about 4 laps to the green. But in the meantime, Trevor Walker out there on fresher tires. He's going to be turning quicker laps right now on his out lap. Tim Cording, it's going to take him a lap to get warmed up on his rubber. And it may actually negatively affect his running order once the green flag pit stops shuffle out. And now he commits. So yes, Tim Cording 4 laps to the good. This is going to be that intermediary point in the race where we're going to have some different faces on different strategies right now. Right there, it's going to be between, well, Matthew Fastnot looks like he might be pitting. Yeah, so Jordan Walker is going to be your new leader here. And he's going to be able to lead up until about lap 114. And I think this tin truck definitely gambling here, hoping for a caution. Yeah, he's going to shuffle around to the lead because Tim Cording just now pitted. It's looking like it's probably going to shuffle out to be Jordan Walker with about a 29-second lead over his brother Trevor. And it'll probably be about a 32-second lead over Tim Cording. And there he gets the lead over from Tim Cording. Very interesting strategy call from that 10 team. And we'll see how this pans out. Almost feel like crew chief for the tin truck felt that they're very much overdue for a caution here tonight and needed something else to go their way. Tin truck desperately needs that caution if he wants to stay in the mix here. He's got a 13-second lead over his brother, Trevor, who will have fresher tires right now. So this lead may very well be short-lived if that 21 truck's actually out there running faster laps. 32 of James Gunner in third. Trevor Vaden on that alternate strategy like the tin truck. He may not be out there for much longer. He's going to need a caution ASAP. He's in fourth. So if the puzzle piece falls into place, some of these drivers might actually be able to recover from some of their woes here today. "35 laps remaining." And I'm keeping it up there for everyone else to see the delta from the leader on back. It's still Jordan Walker at about a 12 point. Waiting for it to recycle here. 12.3 second lead over his brother. So he's really only losing about 0.3 a lap. At that pace, he'll probably be losing the lead by the time he's got a pit. Tim Cording really did pay the price for staying out as long as he did. Loses about 6 seconds. About 7 seconds to Trevor Walker there. So Trevor Walker definitely made the most of coming in when he did over Tim Cording. Although Tim Cording will have fresher tires for this last stint versus the 21. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Jordan Walker can somehow find a way to save 5 to 10 extra laps of fuel. We had him pretty much set at about lap 114 to make his last pit stop. And we've already seen some drivers are able to push it to nearly lap 50. That was right at about where Tim Cording pushed it. But I would really rather be Trevor Walker with a full tank of gas on the late race charge here, giving it everything he's got, versus the latter of Jordan Walker here having to baby it along all the way to the finish. Yeah, unfortunately for Tasha, that coolant leak was just too much to recover from. She's back in 40th, 1 lap down. So the delta has gone back to 11.8 seconds. It's going to reset here when Trevor Walker comes across the start-finish line down to 11.7. So he only lost 1/10 that lap. Oh damn! Yeah, I shouldn't turn that off. I'm gonna keep that on so we can see exactly all the delta deficits there. There's a lot of movement throughout the field here. I'm thinking Trevor Walker might actually be stuck in some lap traffic here. Maybe no, he's not. How contrary to what you would think based on his speeds, he ain't catching up to his brother near as quickly as I thought he would. The only problem he does have here, he doesn't have any drafting help, so that speed definitely neglected there without some drafting help. Well, Trevor Vaden back to 27th now. Tim Cording definitely with some drafting help here. It's going to help him catch up to the 21. 7 seconds back, still a long ways to go. This has pretty much turned into like a road course fuel mileage race, which I don't know what it is with NR2003 and Triangle Tracks doing this. I've had so many fuel mileage races at Pocono over the last 15 years. This is kind of on par with what we would expect to see at Pocono each year. I don't know where Jordan Walker is going to be able to save 10 laps of fuel. Definitely, he's desperately holding out for a caution here to get the track position he needs to stay within the fight. I almost guarantee you, if we make it to a caution, almost everyone's going to pit, and it's going to be like a brand new game at that point. And so your leaders, the tin truck would be your new leader fighting it out against his brother, Trevor Walker, Tim Cording. Man, Chaz Chadwick has stayed within the fight here as well. Alan Malcolm in 7th. Shy Turtle with the top 10 runs so far. Gannon Bird in 10th. I wonder if there's been more people making pit stops, because holy crap. So either pit stops or something, but Tasha from lap 88, there's more people on pit road. 23rd, 19th, yeah, it's pit stops. So she has catapulted herself up into the top 20, due in part to everyone else pitting. So this is getting back within her wheelhouse. She is going to have to pit again probably around lap 120. Jordan Walker, it's kind of plateaued at the moment. He's still holding an 11-second lead over Trevor. Six seconds now back from Trevor Walker as he's got some drafting help with a few of the lap trucks here. Alex Sanvital looking stout here tonight. James Gunner up to 3rd. And it's, man, wow. I don't know where all this, I mean, you cannot predict what's going to happen next right now. Well, Tasha going a lap down here, but it's not necessarily the end all, because we know that 10 truck's going to have to pit again too. Funny part is, even if she goes lap down, whoa, whoa, whoa! I don't know if Tasha was trying to go to pit road, but I think that just settled that for Jordan Walker. Both of them coming down pit road here on lap 102. Since they weren't going to be able to make it to the finish, they're going to try to capitalize on fresh tires and fuel in the last 23 laps of this race. We'll see if they take tires. Yeah, tires are going to be a must here. Well, unfortunately, not the winning strategy for the two drivers there, but still looking for a decent finish here tonight. It ain't out of the realm of possibility that they could still get a good finish. So now the lead swaps hands to Trevor Walker here. We knew that Jordan was going to have to pit again. And they are obviously on a very unique strategy. I think they were bargaining for a caution. They almost were the caution there. And when that happened, it kind of set their course for going down pit road on that lap. So Trevor Walker has a 4.5 second lead over James Gunner. 21 laps remaining. Alex Sanvital with a solid run here today in third. Tim Cording running in fourth, 6.8 seconds back. We've been seeing that gap shrink ever so slightly, so seems like Trevor not running near as fast as the drivers behind him. Yeah, they're closed up again a little bit. And that's going to relegate Jordan Walker back to 16th. That ain't bad. Is that real? Did they get him out and back and running? Well, hold on everyone, because if he's got 4 fresh tires, I don't know if he took 4 fresh tires. He might have just took some gas and go. 4 fresh tires. So with 4 fresh tires, that puts Tasha unfortunately back to 39th. But with fresh tires, she should be able to gain some spots. Just like that, Jordan Walker back up into the top 15 with this move here on Adam Cruz. Youch, Guido Piano with a 36th run. That's going to kind of relegate him out of contention in this championship. There we go, Tim Cording now up to 3rd. As he's got James Gunner within sight there. There's 6.8 seconds back of Trevor Walker, 6.3 seconds back. And of course, as we highlighted, Tim Cording's going to be about 7 laps to the good. Trevor Walker about 4 laps to the good. I'm thinking in a couple laps time, you're really going to start to see the effects of the fresher rubber on Tim Cording versus Trevor Walker here. That 90 truck has not lost much time. He's actually lost a little bit of time there with this lap traffic, falling back to 7.3 seconds. One thing with Trevor is he's not actually getting held up by lap traffic right now, so he's got clean track probably for another 10 laps the way it's going, and put him pretty solidly almost to the finish without any hindrance from lap traffic. The tires on this track, it's kind of a wall. You approach the wall very slowly and then you fall off that wall. So far, we have not seen any of the drivers fall off that wall yet. This 21 truck will definitely be the first truck to fall off that wall on the tire compound. So far, Walker managing to maintain his tires as best he can right now, and he's keeping the lap times up. He turned a 46.881 Compare that just now to a 47.17 from Tim Cording. So the holdup is the traffic that Tim Cording's having to deal with here. He gets alongside the 56, makes a pass, and now he's going to have to fight for position. That's on second place right there with James Gunner. Jordan Walker in 15th right now. Ooh, it's going to be a side-by-side battle for the position. Tim Cording almost roughing up the 32 there. They're going 4 wide with the truck going to pit road there. Oh, we might have our first wreck of the day. Oh, boy, 56 saves it. That was going to be the long-awaited caution that we've been waiting for. But by all it saved, that was a save of saves right there. Let's bam, the 93 clips the 56. 56 just trying to stay out of the way at that point. Oh, wow, the 90 gets stuck up high here. I'm surprised he wasn't able to get by the 32. The lap traffic and even your lead lappers having some trouble here. Jordan Walker works his way up to 14th now as he's going to start picking them off one by one. Trevor Walker, his lead has grown to nearly 9 seconds over second place. Clean track out front is king. That 21 without any lap traffic, no hazards in front of him. He's keeping it steady and turning quicker laps than the rest of the field. Wow, Willow Blake was able to get by both of these two, as Tim Cording seems to have kind of fallen off that wall. I'm surprised. The tires on that 90 truck should be fresher than the 21 truck, and yet he's kind of found the fall off quicker. So maybe the truck setup getting away from him here. Of course, you do not want to factor out. We almost had our first caution of the race on lap 110. Andre Stefan almost got wrecked there, so they're getting rambunctious here in the closing laps. It could very well come down to a green-white checkers. And if we get a restart with Tim Cording up there alongside Trevor Walker, you might be looking at a different result here tonight. Here's to hoping that that caution is not one of our title contenders, though. And if we can close out this race without a caution, that would be like pitching a perfect game. It just doesn't happen very often. We don't see races go caution-free in the Sigma Series, but it's ever present and always possible. And tonight, we're 10 laps short of perfection here tonight. The only other way it would have been a perfect race would have been if someone led every lap. It's been shuffled between Trevor Walker and Tim Cording. These two have been the stars of the show here today, and quite clearly your title contenders for a reason. 18 gets a flat tire. He's going to continue out there even with a flat tire. That's crazy. Chaz Chadwick with a flat tire. 9 laps to go. We'll see how well he does bringing it home here. If he just kind of coasts it around the track, he might not fall too much further outside the top 10. Man, with a flat tire too, that's crazy, man. Still out there running top 5 with a flat tire. That is championship grit right there. Even when you get damage to the vehicle, you keep rolling and keep chugging for every last lap of the race. Well, Tim Cording gets up to second, but not after losing most of the deficit there. He's down to 11.5 seconds out of the lead. Trevor Walker, I think the tires this is going to be where he's fallen off the wall on those lap times. And as soon as those trucks behind him make a move, you might see him lose some precious, valuable gap to the second place driver here. Rough day for a few, great day for many. Jordan Walker all the way back up to 13th now after the strategy calls. Seems like they're going to make the most of what was given to them here today. Their game plan is still waiting on the ever overdue caution. I mean, that 10 truck's obviously got fresher tires than everyone else right now. If we got a caution, he could charge from 13th up to 5th in a heartbeat. Trevor Walker growing that gap even more. It's up to 12.25. It's not looking like there's going to be a whole lot of drama here, as it's going to be 5 laps to go this time by. Trevor doing his level damnedest here to keep that 77 truck behind him. And there opens the floodgate as the 77 gets by the 21. Gets pushed up into that second groove, which we've seen can be pretty fast, so perhaps not a complete detriment to the 21 truck. That 77 truck was actually 2 laps down, so with the apparently fresher tires was able to get around the 21. Oh, he's going way low there. I'm surprised how low they go through turn 3 sometimes. It seems slow. Yeah, he just turned a 47.3. Compare that up to Tim Cording, who's about half a second slower. 47.8. So it's going to be interesting to see here. I am almost wagering if Jordan Walker doesn't get up into the top 10 that Trevor Walker might walk away with your points lead after tonight. And it's all going to be dependent on where Jordan Walker recovers here. 13th, he's got a ways to 12th and 11th. So Between the two brothers, I'm thinking Trevor might come out on top with this one, at least for this week. Now, the one thing this 21 does not want to see is the caution. And I'm not trying to jinx things. I'm just calling it like I see it. And I honestly would not be surprised if this thing goes green all the way to the finish. These trucks, everyone out here has been putting in a star-studded caliber performance tonight. Probably one of the best truck races that we've had at this track with no wrecks. Great racing, great strategy, and overall just impressive racecraft here tonight. We've seen so many of these drivers just, survive or, evolve, develop, try to change with the race as it goes along. Ooh, that's nasty. 87 almost got alongside the 21 there. That could have drawn some ire between the Toyota teams. TRD and Trevor Ventures. Ooh, the 51 is blocking his ass off there. Trevor Walker did not know what to do with that. He had to let up off the throttle. At 51 did not give him an easy pass there. Staying green so far. We're on lap 124 of 125. It's going to be white flag next time by. Trevor just desperately trying to get by this 51 truck and get him behind him. 51 is a wreck waiting to happen, it seems like, as he gets back around the 21. It's not going to matter if the 21 is able to take the white flag here. The race will be official. Lights are still green. There is no caution flag in that flagman's hand. It is a white flag, as Trevor Walker now just needs to finish this last lap under power. Gets alongside the 51. His teammate there, Trevor Vaden, trying to get back on the lead lap here. And there we have it. Walker clears the 51 with ease now as they're 3 wide behind him for that position. Walker's going to cruise around on the backstretch here going into turn 3. All he's got to do now is coast. The 21 of Trevor Walker is going to get a win in a clutch moment here tonight at Eurospeedway. Very likely he's going to walk away with the new points lead here tonight from his brother Jordan Walker. Coming home in second, it's going to be Tim Cording, and he's going to stay within the top 4 in the point standings. James Gunner looking to try and recoup with a 3rd place finish here tonight. He's going to start climbing his way up the points ladder. Alex Sanvital as well, looking to keep in contention for this championship. And Chaz Chadwick with a damaged wheel, potentially a flat tire trying to go flat on him, was able to soldier it along for a top 5 by the end here tonight. 6th place, another chase contender, Gannon Bird. 7th, Ralph Oberstadt. 8th was Shy Turtle with an 8th. Alan Malcolm with a 9th. And Tom Cording with a 10th. 11th, Brian DeBlanc. 12th, Jeffrey Gerald. Jordan Walker coming home 13th. 14th, John Hagan. 15th, Braden Hunt. And the rest of the field as we kind of skim through the back here. Rough day for Ant Me Person as he's credited with a 40th. But the big story here tonight is we went caution-free. Every truck still running by the end of it here. This was a This was a tough race, man. They really put in their reps here tonight and raced extra hard for every position on track. That points battle is going to get heated up here real quick. It looks like we're going to have about a 4 or 5 truck battle for this championship this year. And what else? What more could you ask for? Some excitement, some rivalries that are starting to brew. This is going to be one for the record books. And we made it out of a wild card race without any weird shenanigans happen. I mean, last week was shenanigans overload for the most part, as we saw so much craziness go down. And a somewhat normal race here tonight. Trevor Walker getting the job done for yet another win here in 2024. And that's a wrap for tonight. Fortunately, this track didn't have a victory screen. I would have to get that fixed for next time. Eurospeedway 2, yep, 1 hour, 45 minutes, 54 seconds. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. That was a great race. We had quite the ordeal between leaders. And Tim Cording, I think, led the most laps, but Trevor Walker bested him with pure muscle and speed by the end of it. So Tim Cording definitely fighting an uphill battle when both the Walker brothers have quite the cushion at the top of the point standing in the chase here. But anything is possible, especially when we're going to close out the championship at Ricky Superspeedway this season. And it, I mean, unpredictable. You're going to want to have as much of a cushion going into Ricky Raceway as possible so that you don't have to rely on that race to win the championship. 6 more races remain. We do have an ARCA race tomorrow night. Cup race coming at you Friday, as I don't like competing against Thursday night football. And yeah, that's it, folks. Thanks again. Hopefully you have a wonderful night. Stay safe out there. And until next time,